January is shaping up to be a busy month for Rangers, with the club finally starting to pull the squad picture into sharper focus. While a lot of the chatter has been about potential signings, there has been just as much going on behind the scenes in terms of players moving on, and the recruitment team have been working quietly to set the direction for the months ahead. It's the sort of period where you start to see the plan becoming clearer, and that clarity has just taken a big step forward after a Premier League club confirmed they had agreed terms, effectively giving Rangers the green light to push ahead with a deal. That confirmation is significant because it helps the club get on with the job of reshaping the squad, balancing immediate needs with longer-term strategy. But before we get to that, there's some encouraging news off the pitch that will matter to supporters in a real way. A six-figure proposal for the restoration and renovation of several historic areas around Ibrox has been given the go-ahead after supporters backed it at the first approval stage. Rangers fans have been hearing a lot about the club's plans for the future, and this is one of those projects that taps into the club's heritage and identity. Last month, RFC News reported that Club 1872 had been in talks with the board over plans to restore key areas and items of historical significance with the aim of improving the matchday experience and preserving the club's legacy. That came after the board launched a consultation survey to gather supporters' views on blueprints for potential stadium expansion and upgrades to hospitality suites, so it is part of a wider push to modernize the club while keeping its history front and center. The Heritage Project is backed by a proposed investment of around £220,000, with Club 1872 given the chance to shape a series of restoration works in and around Ibrox. Importantly, the fan group will also have the opportunity to invest in future fundraising rounds to increase their shareholding, which is a key part of the long-term relationship between supporters and the club. One of the main areas earmarked for restoration is the famous marble staircase at the heart of Ibrox, including the trophy room, the blue room, and the manager's office. The plan includes improvements to lighting, preservation of artifacts, and upgrades to the fabric of each space, as well as work on the paintings in the blue room. It is the sort of work that might not make headlines on a match day, but it matters to the identity of the club and the experience of fans who walk through those corridors. Another important element of the plan is the conservation and restoration of the lion crest mosaic at both ends of the main stand, as well as work on the entrance porch mosaic. These are the kind of details that speak to the history of Rangers and the pride that supporters feel in the club's symbols. There will also be a structural engineering assessment to define the scope for future preservation and restoration of the iconic archable lake structure, which has been a feature of Ibrox for generations. As part of the work, the white steel framework above the club deck could be cleaned, and the blue track surrounding the pitch is also in need of repairs. It's a reminder that the stadium is a living thing and it needs regular investment to keep it in top condition. Even the statues that stand as part of the Ibrox landscape are included in the plans, with the John Gregg statue potentially receiving a protective wax coating, and the same treatment being considered for the Walter Smith statue alongside new lighting installations. These are the sort of upgrades that may not be obvious to everyone, but they help preserve the club's icons and ensure they continue to look their best for generations to come. Members of Club 1872 voted in favor of the proposals in recent weeks, giving the green light for the project to move forward. Work will now begin to finalize costs, and get the projects underway as Club 1872 and the Ibrox board continue to collaborate in the interests of supporters. In a statement, Club 1872 said they were delighted to announce that the poll on the proposed funding of the heritage projects had been approved, with 92% of contributors voting in favour. The club will now proceed to secure final costings with vendors and suppliers, and as individual projects begin, they will provide fuller breakdowns and progress updates. The statement also made it clear that this represents the beginning of a transition to a heritage and shareholder-focused relationship between the club and Club 1872. Fundamentally, it is grounded in ongoing investment and support for the wider Rangers community, ensuring that contributors see clear, tangible benefits for their donations. It is presented as just the beginning of a new phase of development for the fan group, with more projects expected to follow in partnership with the club. Now, moving back onto the pitch, Rangers have agreed a defender deal that has now been officially confirmed by a Premier League club, bringing clarity to the future of one of their former academy prospects. The move sees Cameron Scott complete a switch to Burnley, where he will link up with the club's under-20 squad at Turf Moor. Scott, who is 18 years old, joined Rangers at just 9 and spent the majority of his development within the Light Blues academy system. After a successful trial period with Andy Farrell's side, the Scotland under-17 international has earned himself a long-term opportunity south of the border, signing a contract that runs until the summer of 2027, primarily used as a left-back. Scott's versatility has been one of the standout features of his development. He is also comfortable playing at centre-back and has even been deployed further forward on the left wing. That flexibility is something Burnley view as a major asset as they continue to build for the future, and it is clear they see real potential in the young defender. Speaking after the move was confirmed, Scott admitted that the attraction of joining a Premier League club was a decisive factor. He said it was a great feeling to be there, and that when you are younger, you always want to be at the top clubs. Being at a Premier League club like Burnley was really attractive to him, and he added that there were quite a few Scottish lads around the building, including players he had faced for years, which helped make the decision easier. Scott also spoke about his 2-week trial period, describing the setup as really good and the training grounds as phenomenal. He said it was a no-brainer to sign and that the environment at Burnley was exactly what he was looking for as he takes the next step in his career. Burnley's academy manager, Chris Casper, also spoke positively about the deal, highlighting both Scott's mentality and physical profile. He said Scott is a strong addition to their under-21 group ahead of the second half of the season, and that he impressed with his attitude and the technical ability on trial with the physical profile to match. Casper added that he looks forward to seeing Scott fulfill his potential with the club. With Burnley now formally confirming the agreement, Rangers' role in Scott's development comes to a close as the young defender takes the next step in his career within a Premier League environment. It is a move that highlights the strength of Rangers' academy system, and while supporters will always be disappointed to see a homegrown prospect move on, it is also a reminder of the opportunities that exist for young players who have the talent and the drive to make it at the highest level. Now, shifting the focus back to the Scottish scene, there has been a lot of noise around loan moves and the impact they can have on players, clubs, and the atmosphere among supporters. One player who has found himself right in the middle of that debate is Lyle Cameron, who has vowed to work hard and repay the Aberdeen fans after his loan move from Rangers sparked anger among sections of the Dons' support. It is the kind of situation that tends to create tension because the old firm rivalry runs deep and supporters do not always take kindly to players moving between the big clubs, even on temporary deals. Cameron's move was one that many Aberdeen fans struggled to accept, and the reaction was clear on the day he made his debut. On Sunday, in front of the home end at Pittodrie, a banner simply read, "No old firm loans," and it was a reminder of the raw emotions that can be involved when players cross that divide. Cameron, though, has been open about the fact he expected that reaction, and he has made it clear that he is not going to let the noise distract him. Speaking to BBC Scotland, he said he does not go on social media and that he knew what the reaction would be before he even arrived. He added that it is fair enough and that he just needs to come in and perform, work hard for the team, and hopefully repay the fans. It is a sensible approach from a young player who is aware of the scrutiny he is under, and it shows a maturity that could serve him well as he tries to settle into life at Aberdeen. Cameron also reflected on his debut, admitting that it could have been tidier in places and that Aberdeen could have taken a few more chances, but he stressed that the most important thing was getting the result. That is the mindset you need when you're playing in a team under pressure, and it is a sign that he is focused on doing his job rather than getting caught up in the off-field drama. It is easy for a player to be overwhelmed by the reaction of fans, but Cameron's attitude suggests he is determined to let his performances do the talking. For Rangers fans, it is also an interesting moment because it shows how their young players are being used elsewhere and how those loan moves can be a real test of character. Of course, the wider context is that Rangers have a number of players out on loan at the moment, and those moves are always a balancing act. The club wants young talent to get experience, but they also want to protect the players' development and ensure they are not being set up to fail in difficult environments. The Aberdeen situation is a reminder that loans are not just about football. They are about culture, rivalry, and the expectations that come with wearing a certain shirt. For Cameron, the pressure is doubled because he is a young player still finding his feet, and because the old firm rivalry means every touch is scrutinized by supporters who are not shy about making their feelings known. Meanwhile, Rangers are still in the thick of the season, and the January window is looming as a crucial period for the club. There is always a lot of speculation about who might arrive and who might leave, but the reality is that the club needs to be smart with their decisions. The team has to compete on multiple fronts, and that means the squad needs depth, balance, and a clear identity. The recruitment team have been working hard to make sure the club is prepared, and the news of Cameron Scott's move to Burnley is just one example of the decisions being made to shape the squad for the future. It also highlights how Rangers are developing young talent and preparing them for opportunities beyond Scottish football, which is something supporters can be proud of, even if it is hard to see the players leave. The January window also brings the question of which positions the club might look to strengthen and which players might be moved on to make room. Rangers have to consider the immediate needs of the squad, especially as they chase silverware, while also thinking about long-term sustainability. The club has already shown they are willing to invest where necessary, but they also need to be mindful of the financial realities and the need to keep the squad balanced. The departure of a young academy prospect to the Premier League is a reminder that Rangers' development system is producing talent that is attractive to clubs in England, and that can only be a positive sign for the future. At the same time, it does mean the club has to be ready to replace those players and keep pushing forward. And while the focus is often on transfers and the squad, it is worth remembering the wider picture of what Rangers is trying to build. The club is not just about winning matches, it is about maintaining a culture, preserving history, and making sure supporters feel connected to the club. That is why the heritage projects at Ibrox are so important, because they show a commitment to the club's identity. It is also why the club has to be careful with the way it manages players and their development, because every decision has an impact on the wider fan base. Rangers are navigating a delicate period where they need to balance ambition with tradition, and that is not always an easy task. But the work being done behind the scenes suggests there is a clear plan, and that the club is taking steps to make sure it remains competitive and connected to its supporters. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Rangers are reportedly eyeing a bold move in the transfer market, with whispers circulating that Lewis O'Brien could be the latest target to bolster their midfield ranks. The 24-year-old, known for his tireless work ethic and relentless energy, has reportedly caught the attention of the Jersey's hierarchy, who seem intent on adding a player capable of imposing total control over the center of the park. Sources close to the club suggest that discussions are in the very early stages, but the mere hint of O'Brien linking up with Steven Gerrard's old stomping ground has already stirred excitement among the Rangers faithful. O'Brien, who has impressed north of the border during his spells in English football, is widely regarded as a midfielder who thrives on intensity. His ability to break up play, shuttle tirelessly between boxes, and distribute the ball efficiently could make him the perfect fit for a Rangers side looking to dominate games from the midfield. Insiders speculate that the club's recruitment team sees him as someone who can provide a new level of dynamism, bringing not just defensive solidity, but also a sharp attacking transition when the team moves forward. While nothing is confirmed, chatter suggests that Rangers see O'Brien as a player who can elevate the squad's energy levels on and off the pitch. His reputation for high pressing and willingness to run until the final whistle aligns neatly with a team hungry to maintain domestic dominance and make an impact in Europe. Fans have already begun imagining the scenes at Ibrox, with O'Brien patrolling the middle third, driving the tempo, and creating the kind of midfield presence that can change matches. Of course, the usual caveats apply. Negotiations in football can be delicate, and rival clubs might be circling, but the mere suggestion that Rangers are interested has created a ripple of anticipation. Should the deal come to fruition, it could signal a shift in how the club approaches the center of the park, blending intensity with technical skill. For now, supporters can only speculate, but the idea of Lewis O'Brien pulling on the famous blue jersey has certainly captured the imagination of the Rangers faithful, who are keen to see fresh energy injected into a squad always looking to push the boundaries. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned